Today's lesson, what we're going to be covering is how to work with a web page and just kind of all the elements within it to give you a better understanding of how it works. So we're going to open this index page, which will inevitably be our home page for your simple site assignment. To do that, you just double click and you can see now what we have. What is called here is the design view, and this is the code view. So just to give you an idea of what all of this is, when you create something, in the upper area is what it looks like. This is basically how it's put together. On this side right here, the DoEm section, that lets you know at pretty much what section of the website you're on. So everything's structured in a pretty organizational manner. This just gives you a better idea of where you need to put things. This one right here is the title, and it's quite important. Your first sign of ever being an amateur web designer is forgetting to name your pages, and that's when you'd see untitled document up here. So to change that, it's quite simple, and this is what we'll cover for the first step here, is you can just highlight that area in the code section. You can use spaces because it's just like a text writer, and you can name your title. After you've made those changes, you can press Control S, which saves it, and when you preview it again, you'll notice that it now says Corey Willette's website. So you've properly titled your page. Now you're probably wondering, how do you put anything on here since it looks quite barren? There's not really many options here. So what you're going to want to do is go to this Insert section. Now you'll notice if you hover over these areas, you can also adjust the sides of things. And you have many options of stuff you can use. You can insert HTML, form objects, templates, which we are not really going to cover. We don't typically use templates when making sites. Just to give you an idea of what these are, Bootstrap are for making websites that are responsive, meaning if you adjust the width, the page will accommodate. jQuery Mobile are features for websites that are specifically for mobile users. jQuery UI, again, just more features, and you can set up a favorites bar as well. What we're going to really focus on for this section of the course is within HTML and maybe some of the forms. If you're ever curious too, we're focusing on how Dreamweaver works. You can modify the way things look. So if you wanted this, for example, to be up top here, you can click, hold, and drag. And then you notice you have all of this easily accessible now just within here. It's a preference, but if you're used to using Dreamweaver CS5 or CS6, this is how it was previously set up. Another feature that you're going to 100% want to have is the Properties section. By default, Dreamweaver Creative Cloud does not show it. So, in order to do that, you need to go to the Windows section. This is basically where you can select what you want to show and what you don't. And what you'll want to select here is Properties. And then you'll notice below it populates here. It's very important because it can simplify a lot of processes. Just to go back, we added the title in the code here. If you have the Properties section open, you can notice you can just modify it right here. It adds a lot of things you can quickly do. You can add CSS. You can align objects. The Properties section is a very important section. You'll find that you will use it quite often when building sites. Now that we have just kind of a quick run through of how everything works on Dreamweaver, our next lesson, what we're going to cover is putting together structure for our index page.